Hey you guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel where I help you guys stay uplifted, motivate you, and find peace amongst yourself. So if you're interested in these type of videos, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up by leaving a like. Make sure you're commenting down below. And make sure you're subscribed by turning on your notification bell if it's not on already, as well as follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter at Ty_guidance and on Facebook at Talks with Ty to stay up to date. Today is Sunday, October 17th, 2021, and it's 6:45 p.m. going on 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So welcome back for those of you who are new here. Recently, you guys, I've showed you in my previous videos, if you are returning, that I have invested into equipment slash like stand to record for my videos because I believe in putting in good quality as well as good quantity. But I bought and invested a stand that was for like, I guess, newer iPhones, and I have two iPhones that I have purchased and that I used for my content, but the one that I mainly record off of is a little bit older, so the phone is a little bit heavier. So I do apologize if my camera starts to get a little cam on us and it starts to shake because it's a lot heavier than what it is. So like, I'm trying my best to keep this camera focused and stay in a direction so I can record the video. But for those of you who are new, hopefully it doesn't shake too much. If not, you guys will see me try to move it and adjust it. So with that being said, welcome back. Like I said, make sure you guys are following me. All of my social media will be down in the description box below. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the month of October as well as this weekend by practicing daily, reflecting, staying hydrated. I have some water here. I don't know if you guys can see. Drinking your water. Shout out to Starbucks. No, this isn't sponsored, but staying hydrated, reflecting, and practicing daily. So with that being said, for today's video, we will go over and discuss how to accept things as they are. And something that I like to do for those of you who are new and are returning is I like to define keywords from the title slash topic that I make for you guys and in my videos, because on my channel I represent myself as a healer, speaking from experience if not factual information, by educating you guys and informing you guys with information that is generalized for the public, for you to perceive and for you to interpret, because everyone does not process information the same. And because I am speaking from a place of experience, I like to educate you guys on factual information. So I don't know everything, I only know what I'm educated on and what I've experienced. So I like to define keywords from the title slash topic to not only reassure you guys but to refresh you guys as well. So that being said, the words that I chose to go over for today's video are the words accept and the words as they are. So for today's video, once again, we will go over and discuss how to accept things as they are. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start today's video. Okay, so I have to be very gentle when pressing the play and pause button because it is very sensitive, and like I said, because the phone is heavier, it is shaking. So I'm going to try my best to get this video done for you guys. So how to accept things as they are. So the first word I'm going to define from the dictionary is the word accept. So when it comes to accepting something, know that it's a verb. So a verb is something that you do or could be used as an action. So when you accept something, you're giving it consent to receive a thing that may be offered. When it comes to accepting, you believe or you come to a recognition and you recognize an opinion, explanation, or any form of etc. to be valid or correct. So when it comes to accepting, you're receiving and believing. So the word receive means to be given or presented with or paid someone or something, very much something. And if you guys know where that's from, comment down below. As well as believing. So when it comes to belief and believing, that means you accept something, very much something or someone as true, or to be feel as true or sure of have some validation. So a basic understanding of trust and allowing to give or to agree. So the second word I'm going to go over for you guys is they are. So to accept things as they are, and I may go ahead and define the word thing really quickly for you guys, really quickly. I have those two words, but I might as well. So a thing is a noun. A thing is an object that one or needed not, that cannot or does not, to give something to be specific. So a thing is an object, an article, an item. So something, very much something, is a material object that could be distinct from a living sentient being. So an object is a material thing that can be seen or touched, as well as an article, which is a particular item or a object. An item is an individual article or unit, especially one that is a part of a list, collection, or set. So the last word we're going to go ahead and define. So that's the first two words, how to accept things as they are. So the word they are and the word they in general is a pronoun. So as they are is used to refer or to have more people or things previously being mentioned or something that can be easily identified. So they are in the word they is used to refer to a person who is unspecified with a gender or mentioning someone or something that can be easily identified. So for example, things in your life could be a situation, an experience, an opportunity. So how do you accept things as they are? So what I realized when it comes to healing and accepting things for what they are instead of overwhelming ourselves, being depressed, having anxiety, or dealing with depression and suffering from anxiety, is to notice when you try to change things that you cannot control. Do not deny things that cannot be changed. And that is easier said than done, but what I've realized is reflecting and practicing. So for me, what I suggest and advise when it comes to accepting things for what they are and not making it more than what it needs to be, so you don't cause yourself into anxiety attack, a panic attack, ADHD, ABC, 1, 2, 3, is writing down your feelings, writing down how you think. It's really important to vocalize verbally or generalize, write down how you feel. So any form of expression will allow you to understand things for what they are. So most like anybody, everyone in life goes through opportunity experiences. Everyone is going to suffer, and everyone's, environment geographically where they live and their opportunities are not going to be the same. So for example, we all have the same 24 hours in life, but we don't have the same resources and tools. So once you're able to identify your emotions and you're able to express them, whether it's writing them down, verbally expressing yourself out loud, or even what I have some tips and tricks is the mirror trick or listening to yourself speak. So the reason why I tell you guys to get a mirror, as you guys can see, and to look at yourself in the mirror is so you can see yourself for who you are. A mirror is just a reflection. So we as people do not know what we look like unless we have a mirror or a camera or someone displays who we are. So when you're able to identify with yourself by being honest and vulnerable with yourself, by looking at yourself, you're facing yourself and letting yourself know to speak highly of yourself and encouraging yourself to be vulnerable, as well as recording your thoughts. It's really important to record down what you say, because if you're having negative thoughts or rapid thoughts, your thoughts are always going to be active. So understanding and realizing how that's affecting you. So understanding that when you don't have control of a situation, to not be so hard on yourself. So how do you accept things as they are? You remind yourself that it is what it is, and if you're not able to change something, that knowing that right now in that moment it is allowed for you to grieve. And grieving is a cycle. So I've lost my dad over 3 years ago. Mentally, I just realized this year that it's okay to have moments where I feel a need to cry or I need to isolate myself. So when it comes to coping, this is why I don't tell you guys specifically what to do or how to feel, but I suggest and advise information. So accepting things as they are, how to accept them, is allowing yourself to feel sad or disappointed when your feelings are invalid or if you feel like you're not able to express yourself. So knowing that it's healthy for you to seek out, support and surround yourself with like-minded people, and realizing that in order for you to move forward, that it takes time. So when it comes to healing, when it comes to accepting yourself, not to compare yourself, this is why I tell you guys to be yourself. Like, I'm on here, I show up as myself authentically, because when it comes to healing, once again, just because I'm here to support you, it's up to you guys to be vulnerable with yourself and allow opportunities to be mindful of the situation to affect you. So realizing that when it comes to accepting things for what they are, change what you can. A lot of people overwhelm themselves, give yourself anxiety, because nobody is naturally in tune with depression and anxiety until situations happen to us. So if you're in a chaotic environment and you don't know how to relax, or if you don't know how to cope, yes, you can be easily influenced by your environment. But just because you're in an environment or you're in an area does not mean that you have to condone that energy. So realizing what you can identify, what you can and cannot change. So another thing I would suggest and advise is making a pros and a cons list of information or previously things that you've been through in your life that you went through that you may or may not knew how to handle. So it's really important to reflect on what you've been through and learn from what you go through, and realizing that life is about growing and understanding. So focusing on what you can gain, how to accept things as they are, being kind to yourself, being mindful of your mistakes, taking the time to put in the work. In order for me to come on here consistently throughout this last year and be as productive as I was, I had to reflect and realize where was I lacking and where was I able to do things that I was capable of. And I also had to have days where I wanted to do well and I didn't want to do well. In order for you to be consistent, you have to be uncomfortable. In order for you to be disciplined, you have to feel lost, and knowing that it's okay. So realizing that when it comes to healing and accepting things as they are, there's no right or wrong way to do it. That's why I'm here to suggest and advise, to cheer you on, to let you know that when it comes to developing coping skills, it's best to do so with your feelings, because you can identify what you're capable of. You can't identify things that you cannot change. And what I mean by that is identify things that you cannot change. You can't identify what you can't change. You can't change things that you don't have control over, is what I meant to say. So realizing, that it takes time, and acknowledge the situation. Like sometimes people try to, deny what has happened, which will cause you to suffer more, I will say, from experience, instead of dealing with what you're going through. So learning to take, deep breaths, meditating, becoming more grateful. And this is why I tell you guys that to live your life, practice daily and reflect. Like, you have to be willing to practice. So if you feel like today was horrible, you didn't do anything, that's fine. Only do what you can. So making a list, a to-do list of what you can do, making a pros and cons list of what you don't want to do, what's working for you, and trusting yourself. That is really important when it comes to accepting things as they are. The reason why people have anxiety is because they're overwhelmed. They're trying to think too much. They're thinking about the future. They're thinking about tomorrow, and you're currently in the present day. And then the reason why people suffer from depression is because they're living in their past. They haven't moved forward. They cannot accept what has happened, and they're in a state of denial. What I will say, the longer that you deny something that is for you or is not for you, the longer you're going to be feeling like a burden. So like the example that I use all the time, and then what I'm going to start using as an analogy, is riding a bike. If you ever rode a bike for the first time in your life, you didn't know what you were doing. You had to learn how to fall, and you have to learn that, the speed and pedaling forward and etc. I remember I was 8 years old when I first learned how to, I think 7 or 8 years old when I first learned how to ride a bike. My dad and my sister taught me how to ride a bike outside in front of my house. And I remember the first time that I was nervous, because I was just like, okay, I gotta, get the balance of it and practicing. So like when you fall off a bike for the first time, knowing that it's okay, that one, you're just learning how to ride a bike, you don't know what you're doing. Two, you have to practice to get better, to be comfortable riding the bike, and realizing that when you fell, that if you want to cry, if you want to shout, if you want to throw a tantrum because you're hurt, that it's okay. Most people, they get in a bike or even driving a car, they get into a car, let's say they get into a car crash. If they don't reevaluate and dissect and realize that, hey, they got into a car crash, and they get back in the car and they don't learn from the experience or realize how it affected them, they're going to constantly keep crashing. That's the same thing with you riding the bike. You have to realize, okay, I've never done this before. So you're not overwhelmed. So when it comes to dealing with your anxiety and calming yourself down, being mindful, being honest, realizing that when you accept things for how they are, the more likely it is you're able to understand how you feel. And it takes a while. Like, it took me 19 years of my life to figure out how I needed to calm down, how I'm going to go about handling with things that, are not for me and things that are. And what I've realized, if something is for you, it's going to be for you. A lot of people are impatient, a lot of people are ungrateful, and they don't realize that. So realizing that where you are right now in your life is a part of where you were and where you want to go, and that it's up to you. You have the keys, you have the direction. So realizing that taking your time will also allow you to accept things as they are, and the more you practice, the more you take your time, and the more you're able to be honest with yourself, the more likely it is you're able to get to where you need to be. So when it comes to, oh, you guys see that chicken? When it comes to accepting things as they are, take your time, practice daily, surround yourself with people who are able to help you stay at ease. So meditate if you need to. Doesn't matter how many times you meditate. Exercise, whatever coping strategies that you've been doing, continue to do so. And if you don't have any, what I suggest and advise is to write down and start documenting how you feel. Write the time, write the date, write the year. The more you're able to express yourself, because a lot of people hold in their emotions and a lot of people don't have the emotional intelligence. I used to be like that. When I used to get frustrated and I didn't have emotional intelligence, I would keep all my emotions inside and explode and blow up on people. And I realized nobody wants to talk to you if you cannot be calm. For some people, there are some people, who were patient with me and realized that I needed help expressing myself. But if you don't have that, learning that you cannot control things that you don't have control over. So allowing yourself to breathe, reflecting, taking your time, and realizing that when it comes to accepting things as they are, to not overwhelm yourself. You can only do so much. You're only one person. So realizing that throughout the day, there are only 24 hours. If you know that you have 10 things to do, write down from the most to the least important and taking your time to do what you can. You cannot burn yourself out. You don't want to stress yourself out. And like I said, you want to give yourself a panic attack or anxiety by worrying about the future or tomorrow when it's not here. So the more you're able to practice, the more you're able to be in the present moment, the more you're able to get what needs to be done and accept things for how they are. And I do apologize for the background noise. There's a game going on. I have a little brother and he's yelling and screaming at the TV. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Live your life and don't forget to stay yellow.